Hello everyone, welcome back to Luke's Anime Talk, going over some of the most recent anime I've been watching. And for this video I'll be looking at the new That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, the movie Scarlet Bond, which is the continuation of the anime series. But just before I get into that, I uploaded a review for Disney's Strange World, so if you're interested, go give that a watch. And make sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all future uploads. Okay, so let's go over the plot for That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, the movie Scarlet Bond. Okay, so the story is basically, it continues after the second season where Rimuru has become a demon lord, and at the start of the film we find out that one of the ogres from the ogre village survived and was actually in another kingdom called Raja and ended up staying there the whole time while Rimuru and all the other monsters were living in Tempest. So basically they end up coming into contact with them. They have a bit of a misunderstanding where the other Kijin, or the ogre, now known as Hero, finds out about the orcs that are living in Tempest. Comes to a bit of a misunderstanding, but when Benimaru and the other ogres, or the Kijin, come there, they talk to Hero and they come to an understanding. They end up befriending each other, because obviously they grew up together in the ogre village, and they end up talking with Rimuru and how the kingdom of Raja is having a bad time. They go there to help them out, because the queen is very ill, whose name is Toa, and they end up helping her. They cleanse the water that was doing a lot of bad things to the queen and basically keeping the city in a bad state because it's toxic water. And they find out that there was a curse there, and then we find out that there's a demon involved that's been cursing the city and trying to make it, I don't know, give up its life force. And then they have a big battle. Hero gets used by the demon, and then Benimaru has to fight him. Diablo has a fight with another one of the primordial demons, Violet, and she was the one that kind of started all of the curse off, but who was basically called Lakua, went behind her back and made it so it was in her favour, but she didn't like being played like that and wanted to be a fair game with humans, so she voided it. In the end, a couple of people end up dying but reviving, but at the end of the day it all comes to a happy ending with everyone from Tempest having good relations with this kingdom of Raja, and the Queen Toa and Hero having kind of a budding, loving relationship. And it's nice in the end. We get some twists, some turns, some really cool action scenes. It's just a fun story. It could have been part of the anime, it could have been a short mini arc, but they put it into a movie, and I think they did a really good job of it overall. So even though the story is non-canon, the way in which it's told and concluded makes it feel like it could fit in nicely with the rest of the story. So it's kind of a side plot. It could be going on in the background. They just never mentioned it in the anime, which is a nice way to do non-canon movies. So it could be part of it, but it's not necessarily overly important. So it's a nice way they've told this story. We get to see basically all the main players from the story and anime, especially Benimaru and all the other Kijin, with fun highlight fights for Diablo as well. So we get a good amount of fights, with Diablo having a good one against Violet and Benimaru fighting Hero when Hero gets cursed later in the film by the demon Lakua. So he gets transformed and Benimaru has a fight with him. And it's really cool visually. It's very sparks and like fire effects. It's really cool. Rimuru is the usual chilled, laid-back self just trying to help. So now that he's become a demon lord, he's basically all-powerful. So anything he does is like ultra easy for him. When he cleanses the river, it's easy. When he tries to help all the people out, it's super easy. When he's fighting the demon, he just kind of just swats him away. It's just funny to watch. Because Rimuru just kind of leaves everything else to his subordinates now, because he's just so overpowered. He doesn't even need to bother, which I kind of enjoy, because he's very laid back about everything, so it's fun to watch him. The Queen of Raja, Toa, was an interesting and heartbreaking character who constantly sacrificed herself for her people. So throughout the film, she's basically purifying the water, and it's making the curse on her body get worse. Rimuru tries to help her, and it does help, but when Lakua the demon escalates things and makes it worse, Toa gets worse, and the curse spreads to her more, and that she ends up sacrificing herself to save Hero, who dies, and then the demon that basically gave her the contract found out that it had been voided by the other demon, so she brought Toa back to life. So Toa was a very heartwarming character. She wants to help everyone, even sacrificing her life multiple times for people. So she's a very upstanding character and a queen to look up to, which Rimuru knew, and he said, oh, he can learn a lot from her. Benimaru and the other Kijin's brother, Hiro, was a cool inclusion that gave some more background to the world, especially the Ogre Village. So we find out that Hiro, during the main story, actually ended up joining Clayman's side as a mercenary, and when he found out that the Ogre Village was going to be attacked, he basically fled, but was basically hunted down for deserting. That's when he got taken in by the Kingdom of Raja. And then through his flashbacks and everything, see the Ogre Village when they were younger, when it was thriving, and we get to see what's happened to the village now. So, of background knowledge to the overall world that we've come to love. The surprise inclusion of Diablo's fellow demon Violet as a player behind the scenes was cool and excites me for her future in the series. So I know Violet becomes a part of Tempest in the future in the light novels. So it was cool to see her here as an early inclusion where she kind of gets involved, has a little scuffle with Diablo, but we don't get to see her full power and force as a primordial demon. So it's a nice little taster before she becomes a main part in the series. So it's interesting to see where she's going to go from there. There are a multitude of fights in the film with a variety of different matchups. So at the start of the film we've got Hiro versus Geld, the Orc, and then we get Benimaru versus Hiro at the end in a Super Saiyan ogre fight, which was quite cool. And then obviously I mentioned Diablo versus Violet was a really cool fight. We get Lacua the Demon versus Rimuru, and Rimuru slaps him about. A variety of different fights, and all just fun to watch because our people from Tempest are just so overpowered and so strong. They just beat everyone up and just have out of this world fights. It's just so fun to watch. So I may say that the ending resolution felt contrived with both Towa and Hiro surviving, but with the rules set up in this film, it made sense. So when we find out that Towa basically sacrificed herself with the crown that basically gives the user power, it made sense why he could be brought back. And then because the contract got voided with Violet, it made sense that she would bring Towa back. So it didn't feel like, oh, let's just bring them back for the sake of a happy ending. It made sense in the continuity of the film, so it didn't feel kind of just shoved in there for a happy ending. It made sense overall in the film story. The inclusion of some 3D environments, mainly during fast-paced moments with 2D characters, worked alright and created a good sense of speed and momentum. There was one particular moment where Rimuru and Ranga are chasing after the demon Lacua, and it's basically all a 3D environment in a mine, and it looked really cool because it looked like they were going ultra fast, bolting through this mine, and it really worked because if they had used 3D characters, it probably would have looked a bit off, I think. But because they used a 3D environment with a 2D character, I think it worked a bit better, and I'm glad they did it that way. There are a couple of negatives I thought in the film. The actual antagonist, Lacua, was kind of generic, with motivation being very one-dimensional. He was basically just trying to impress Violet at the end of the day, and that was it. He wasn't really an overall, I'm going to take over the world, or I want to get payback for someone. No, he just wanted to impress his leader demon, and it was kind of just oh, okay, that was his motivation. I thought it would have been a bit more interesting if it was a bit more, I don't know, personal to him. And then the second point was that while some characters got some highlight moments, like Diablo and Benimaru, others not so much, like Xion and Veldora. Xion was kind of just acting all happy and drunk in the background of some scenes, and then when she was fighting some of the enemy armies in the side of the story, she kind of got pushed to the side with that. And then Veldora just got left back at Tempest to look after the town, which I understand he's a powerful character, so it made sense to keep him there. But it would have been cool to see him have a bit of a fight. But overall, I had so much fun with this film. It continues the fun antics from the anime series, with all our favourite characters basically getting at least one or two highlights in the film, especially the Kijin and Diablo, as I mentioned. But yeah, if you love anime, if you love the Slime series, if you love Isekai, this will be a perfect movie for you. It's just under 2 hours, so it's basically a very tight story, as I would call it anyway. But yeah, it was fun overall, and give it a try if you like that anime and the Slime series. Give it a go. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this film. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to keep up to date with all future episodes. And until next time, I will see you all later.